All right, welcome to the 186th District Court. Court is in session. This is cause number 2020 CR 11048, State of Texas versus Jesus Cortez. We're here today for sentencing. We're conducting this hearing via video conference using the Zoom application. We're also using YouTube to live stream the proceedings to keep the hearing public. Time now is 11:33 a.m. on the 23rd of June 2021. These proceedings are official. They're on the record and they're being recorded by the official court reporter, counsel, and all present. We're instructed to act so you're in court, and all are instructed not to record the proceedings. If we could have the attorneys make appearances starting with the state of Texas, please.
Chris Ramos for the state of Texas.
Tony Jimenez for Mr. Cortez.
So are you the same Jesus Cortez who on April 14th, 2021 pleaded no contest to assault, bodily injury of a family member or household member by choking or strangulation? Is that you, sir?
Yes, sir.
And plea bargain calls for 2 years of the state's opposed to the application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. And Mr. Jimenez, have you had an opportunity to review the TAP evaluation and the pre-sentence investigation report?
I have, Your Honor.
Since the state's opposed, Mr. Ramos, you may proceed.
Yes, sir. The state is opposed to the defendant's application. We asked the court to review his PSI and take all factors described in the PSI in its consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ramos. Go ahead, Mr. Jimenez.
Your Honor, following that, taking that into consideration, Your Honor, obviously the court's reviewed the PSI report that indicates that the victim herself is not opposed to a probated term in this case. I want to just kind of step back for a minute. Mr. Cortez, since his arrest in July of 2020, has not obviously picked up any offenses during this particular time up until the time we're scheduled for sentencing today. In the meantime, he did complete an anger management, stress management program course here in San Antonio that was completed on May 1st of 2021. I have to be honest with the court. I failed to actually review in depth circumstances leading up to it. I know that my client at a point had blacked out. Obviously, it had to deal with his alcohol abuse. He was obviously an alcoholic based on what I've read on the substance abuse evaluation. And again, he's admitted to me recently that that was basically his problem, his use of alcohol. And I think that contributed to why he's here before you today. I need to point out also to the court that the narrative of what happened on that day doesn't really flow with the actual evidence that was presented. There was no treatment for these alleged acts on my client's part, specifically as to biting her and strangling her. The officers on the scene indicate to the court on page 8, or at least it was provided to the court in the official version, that the police did not observe any bite marks on the victim herself. I think the important thing here is we know that it's probably alcohol related. We know that he's gone through a stress management course. We know that he's on the right track because he's completed the coursework and he's admitted to the officer that he's no longer drinking. If I had been more diligent, I probably would have had him go to AA classes prior to the court rendering a sentence in this case. He is in a contemplative stage of change. He's working, he's consistently providing for himself and assisting a small family unit. And I would respectfully ask the court to take all of that into consideration and grant his application for community supervision in this particular case, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. All right, sir, I find that your plea was freely, intelligently, voluntarily made, that there was sufficient evidence to support the plea and that you're mentally competent to enter into such a plea, and I find you guilty, sir. Mr. Jimenez, is there any legal reason as to why your client cannot be sentenced today?
None, Your Honor.
We no legal reason. According to the state, sir, sentence you to 2 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. However, I will suspend that and I'll place you on community supervision for a period of 4 years. There is a $1,200 fine. There is an affirmative finding of family violence taken in consideration for dismissal or 2 other causes. I'm going to read you the cause numbers, tell you the offenses, and if you plead true, sir, I dismiss those cases. In county cause number 611-447, resisting arrest. How do you plead, true or not true?
True, Your Honor.
That's dismissed. In county cause number 611-448, interfering with the duties of a public servant. How do you plead, true or not true?
True, Your Honor.
Was dismissed. You'll be in our intensive outpatient substance abuse treatment program. You'll have 150 community service hours. You'll be in our batterer intervention prevention program. If your anger management course qualifies, the one that you already just took, if that qualifies, you can show the paperwork to the probation department. I'll let them decide if it qualifies or not for the BIP program. I'm also going to order no contact with the complaining witness, Allison Avina. Let me ask though, is there, Mr. Jimenez, is there any children with these two?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then is Mr. Cortez about ready to conclude this hearing, but don't leave once we do. You're gonna have to talk to our court liaison officer there in the court. I'll note you're in the courtroom. You've got your mask on. We have our liaison officer there. She's with her mask on as well, and people are socially distanced. And just also noting, we're still in the pandemic. It looks like hopefully we're near the end here, but don't leave when we're finished. Sir, there's a plea bargain case, and I follow the plea bargain, so you do not have the court's permission to appeal. You do not have the right to appeal. I'm also noting you waived your appeal in the plea bargain agreement. I'm making a certification of this for the record. I'll provide a copy of the certification to your attorney to provide to you. Is there anything else from either side?
Sir.
Nothing from defense, Your Honor.
All right, this matter is now concluded. We are in recess and I'm turning off YouTube.